Hello, and welcome to another Thursdays with Thoth here at Good Journeys Tarot. I'm Rosemary, and I just wanted to share with you some more resources and tools that I've gotten to help me study the Thoth as well as where I am with my progress. Currently, I have managed to make it up to the point in the um, book that I've been using, Understanding Aleister Crowley's Thoth Tarot by Lon Milo Duquette. I've made it up to chapter 8, and part of that is in part due to Lon Duquette himself. He is currently reading this book on his Facebook page, and I want to thank Nina at Shuffle Tarot for sharing that with us in her group, Thoth from Scratch. So I'll put a link below to his Facebook page. The reason it was very helpful for me is because the first 7 chapters are all like background stuff, like about Aleister Crowley, about his relationship with Lady Freddie Harris, about his vision and prophecy, which didn't really interest me. And I'm sorry, tarot deck creators. I'm more interested in the decks and the symbols in the decks and how the cards interact with one another than I am in your life and how you got to this place, right? So, sorry, it's just not what interests me. And so, chapter 8 is about the Rose Cross design on the back of the cards. And what's interesting about this is that when I first started studying the Rider-Waite system, I began working on my own symbol. I like symbols. I like, pictorial representations of information. And so I began working on my own personal symbol to use in my practice. And this is how it turned out. And it was, because I'd always been interested in that card back, even though I wasn't interested in that deck at that time. And it ended up in a similar fashion and actually is evolving in a lot of ways like the back of the card here with the Rose Cross. So I'm really enjoying reading about that. I will say that I'm not following along with him anymore because now that I'm up to the stuff that I'm interested in, I read much quicker than he does. And so I want to get through the material and enjoy it. So it's less helpful for me to follow along with him. So right now, I have learned all about the little cross and the dot in the middle of the design. And then I've learned about the petals on the flowers, which I kind of already knew about, but it was helpful to read about it again. Of course, the 3 little petals around the small cross are the primary elemental cards. And then you have your 7 visible planets and the cards they represent. And then you have the zodiacal cards for the major arcana around that. So that's what makes up the rose. Very excited to be getting into that. Love this kind of stuff. And it's very helpful for me. So check out his videos if you are interested. If you don't have the book and you want to learn, great way to do that, right? I did learn, though, there's a misprint in this book. And he said you could email the printer and they would fix it. But it's supposed to have images here and at the back of the book, if I can open it, right? And it's basically just it's the Rose Cross. It's the tablet with the information from the museum that Crowley visited, and I believe there's one more image. All of those images are available online, and I don't particularly see any reason to get another copy of the book just for those images, because when I see them referenced here, I can look them up. Not a big deal for me. So one of the things that I was excited about is that I have been looking at this deck for a long time now, and I never purchased it because I wasn't reading the Thoth. And now that I'm studying the Thoth, I'm very excited to actually have in my hands the Arcana Iris Sakura. And this is a gorgeous packaging. Okay, it looks like a little book, and it has a ribbon to tie it on the side, which is very cute. The cards are just smaller than standard tarot size, so they look like. Whoops. So they're like this. So they're just slightly more narrow. They're gilded. They have gold foil in the back, which is beautiful. And the reason I love these, it's not just these colors and the images. You'll notice I tend to gravitate towards images that are clear and simple. The exception to that being decks like, say, the Slow Tarot, where there's not really symbols in the cards. They're more or less scenes that represent the keywords, rather than having actual symbols that are supposed to mean something specific. Like, say, with the Thoth, for example, with the Fool, there's a whole description of this card and what the crocodile means and what the tiger means and what the sun over the genitals and the butterfly and the bird and all of these things. And this deck puts them all on here without all of the busy background stuff that makes it hard for me to find the symbols in the Thoth Tarot. So this is probably the closest I've seen to what might be a clone of the Thoth. Although it really isn't. There are some images in here that are quite different, and but the pips are pippish, like the Thoth. And I will be going through and doing a full walkthrough of this deck alongside the Thoth in the next month sometime. And then so I'm excited to have that deck and to work with it. There just aren't really a lot of Thoth clones out there. Most decks are Thoth inspired, so they'll use RWS imagery and Thoth concepts. The Spirit Keepers Tarot does that, as well as brings in some other personal ideas from Benebell Wynn. I'm loving that. And the other thing that I have gotten to help me along with my studies, especially with the astrology part of the Thoth, is this beautiful deck to go with it. It's the Claves Astrologicae, which is designed similarly and also has the cold foil back. And it has all of the astrological houses, the planets, the zodiac signs, and then as an additional bonus, you also get all of the phases of the moon. Won't really be needing the phases of the moon to work with to learn about the Thoth, but the other three play a important part in the Thoth. And so I'm happy to have these. And I'll be doing a walkthrough of this as well. Not going to spend much time on it. I just wanted to show you it because I was very excited to finally get it and have it to work with. The one thing that is different about the Arcana Iris Sakura from the Thoth is the Hebrew letters are not on here. It does have the planet and zodiac correspondences on it, but it does not have the Hebrew alphabet. So that's something that I'll have to learn, alongside the cards to see if it adds anything for me. Some symbols add to a tarot reading for me, and some just don't. But I want to study it. I want to learn to see what the intention was behind the deck, even if I choose to interpret it my own way, in the future. One of the things that Benebell Wynn pointed out in a video was that, intuition is great, but that knowledge adds to your intuition, because you're going to see things that you may not have seen if you've never studied, you know. Um, and I think intuitive reading is great, but I think it can be vastly expanded by understanding the intentions of the creators and the symbols that are in the cards and all of that kind of thing. So that's it for our Thoth Thursdays with Thoth today. Next week, we're going to be talking about planets. That was a video that Nina did this week. I'll put it below if you want to see that. I'm going to be working on studying that as well as the astrological houses, and finishing up with the Rose Cross. And I'll come back and I'll tell you what I've learned and what I've seen. That until next time, good journeys.